Hello, thank you for joining me for another video today. My name is Hannah and welcome back to Hand Plans. Today's video is going to be a flip through of my 2021 finished book journal, and if you're interested, stay tuned. Yeah, today's video is going to be a flip through of my reading journal from 2021. I'm so excited to show it to you. This was the first year that I've kept a reading journal and I'm obsessed with it. The flip through of my 2022 book journal is coming soon. I just have a couple more things I need to finish in it before I want to flip through it. So that one's coming, but this one is done and it's ready to be flipped through for the rest of the year. This is a Plum paper notebook. It is in the A5 size. This cover was a cover of the month. So currently you cannot get this cover, but sometimes they re-release the covers of the month. You just have to keep an eye out for the website. But it is just a regular notebook. It's like this coil is super puny and small. It's an A5 size and it's lined paper, regular ruled lined paper. And it was a creative challenge for me this year, and I'm really glad I stuck with it. It looks so good. So enough of me talking, let's flip through it. So first I have here a sticker. This is from Alicia Michelle's shop. I will link it in the description. But yeah, it's just a regular notebook. So this was my monthly TBR section. At the beginning of every Plum paper notebook or planner, they give you these pages that have all the months on them. So each box is a certain month, and these were books that I wanted to read in each month, and then by September I just stopped filling it in. But I didn't even read half of these books that I put on these lists. I just read what I wanted to read. So that's why I don't really do monthly TBRs, because I don't stick to it. So the next page is the same kind of setup, but the boxes aren't labeled. So I labeled them by genre, and I wrote down all the books that I finished by genre. So this is my romance section, my mysteries and thrillers, science fiction, classics, biography, memoir, fantasy, nonfiction, contemporary, horror, historical fiction, and YA and children's. As you can see, I lean heavily towards the romance side and the contemporary side, and some mystery and thriller. I don't know, that's what I like to read, so I'm not going to try and challenge myself to read outside that very much this year. I'm just going to read what I want to read, and if it happens to be nonfiction or horror or a classic, then, that's great. But yeah, I definitely love the romance and the contemporary books. Those are definitely my favorites. So these were my stats for the year. Oh, I never did my pages. I got to go back and do that. But I did, so I made this table, and it's just the month, the number of books that I've read, the number of pages that I've read, the books that I've owned, books I got from the library, and audiobooks. So even if my audiobooks is a little different than my owned and library books. The owned and library added together will equal the number of books read, but sometimes I read an audiobook in tandem with a physical book, so that's why the numbers are a little weird with that. But yeah, so 37 books total, 10 of those I owned, 27 of which I got from the library, and I had 18 audiobooks this year too, so that's really fun. That's good to know, because clearly I need to read more books than I own. And then these are my 5-star favorites. So on this side, it's all the books that I loved. And then on this side, I wrote them in pencil. Those are just those are my 4-star books. I wanted to see how many that I had and if they could fit before I wrote in pen. But I think I'm just gonna leave it in pencil. It's not bothering me. But yeah, my 5 stars are these 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. These books are all amazing. Everybody should read them. Okay. And then these are all my 4-star books. So the next was my Goodreads challenge, and I color-coded it by month. I ended up surpassing my Goodreads challenge, which is why all the titles are written on this side. so we can see every book that I've read, even though I filled up the 35 boxes. So my goal every year is 35. I feel like that's a good achievable goal for me. I ended up reading 37, so I was able to surpass it. Yay. At one point I didn't think I was going to, so I'm really proud of myself for that. But yeah, and once I finished a book, I just colored it in depending on the month that I finished it, and I wrote the title and my star rating. And I loved how it turned out. It's like a awesome rainbow. I love it. So then here I have my alphabet reading challenge. And so once I read a book that began with a certain letter of the alphabet, I would write it here. I did not get to every single letter, but I got to most of them. I think I got to I only missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I only missed 9, which isn't bad. That's really good. I'm surprised I didn't get any with M though. I feel like M is a really common letter and a really common first letter, so that's interesting. The next page is the buzzword reading challenge. I'm gonna be honest, I think I did this twice this entire year. I really wanted to, but then I just didn't feel like reading certain books during certain months, and so I just didn't stick to it. When it comes to the buzzword reading challenge for this year, I'm going to switch up how I do it. So I will talk more about that though in the next video when I do my flip through of my 2022 journal. But yeah, because on the other side, I was going to write down all the books that went with the month. That didn't happen. We were going to do a book club this year. That didn't happen. All right. My book of the month picks for the year. I stopped filling it out in August, even though I had it for the whole year. I stopped filling it out. I knew I wasn't going to have enough space, so I just stopped doing it. The next page is a challenge that I came up with. So this was all of these prompts are a combination of prompts that I've looked to in the past or prompts that I have gotten from other challenges that I really enjoyed, others that I just made up. So yeah, it's a combination of all of that, and I filled out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them. It is what it is. It's just an extra fun thing, and I'm like, ooh, if I filled it out, cool. But other than that, it's not a big deal to me. This was a list that my stepmom gave me of the PBS Ultimate Reads, and I wrote them all down, and I didn't read any of them. So it's a nice list to have now that I don't have the newspaper article anymore, but I'm not gonna refer to this probably ever again. So this next page is an author's challenge. I never filled this out either. I know I definitely accomplished certain goals with these because I've definitely read authors of color this year. I definitely read books that were by an author duo, a debut. I haven't read a book where the author shares my name, and I didn't read a memoir this year, but I did read a debut, 2 authors and authors of color. I just didn't fill this in. So yeah, because N.K. Jemisin and Jane A. Caro are authors of color. So yeah. The next page is my library list, and I have my corresponding key at the top. So I just wrote out every single book that I checked out of the library. If it's crossed out, that means I read it. If it's not crossed out, that means I returned it before I was able to read it. This teal color with the P is for the physical book, the yellow with the A is audiobook, the E in purple is ebook, and the gray were MM. It just said multiple mediums. So if I had it in the physical book and the audiobook, or the ebook and the audiobook, I marked it as gray, just to see what I'm checking out from the library. I thought it was really fun. This was my summer reading challenge, which I also did not really participate in. I had good intentions. This summer I was moving and I had to buy a car, and it was all over the place this summer, so I didn't do a lot of reading, but I think I'm gonna keep it for this coming summer, for summer 2022, because I think it's a good challenge and I think it's fun for the summer. So I'm gonna kind of recreate this page, I think, in my new journal in the summertime. So yeah, definitely gonna keep that. And then this is when I tried to do Becca's Bookathon in September. I pulled the prompts, I did the rolls, I did the whole shebang. I didn't read any of those books. Didn't feel like it. So I don't know why I do these challenges, because I never feel like reading the books that I'm supposed to read in those months. So definitely a mood reader. Now we're into the reviews. Hey, it's Editing Hannah. I wanted to put a video quickly right here because I'm getting into reviews of the books that I read in 2021. And while I don't say any spoilers, what's written on the pages might be spoilers. So if you want to just listen to my thoughts on these books, then do that, and just like do something else while the video plays so you don't read what I wrote. I don't know why I forgot to mention that in the original video, but so I'm mentioning it right now. Don't read my thoughts if you don't want to be spoiled on any of these books. There you go. All right, have a great day. Back to the video. So I'm gonna kind of flip through this quickly and just mention the books that I read this year in like one sentence or less. You don't need to hear me sit and talk about all these books. I am going to do a favorites video if it's not out already. If it is out already, I'll link it in the cards, but if it's not out already, that's coming, so stay tuned. I don't know what order these are going to go up in. All right, the first book I read this year was This Time Next Year by Sophie Cousins. I gave it 3 stars. It was okay. It's marketed as a romance, and it's not a romance. It's more about female friendships. So that's that one. Number 2 was Ties That Tether by Jane Icaro. I gave this 5 stars. It was so good that I'm going to talk about it more in my favorites video, so stay tuned for that. The next one was Big Summer by Jennifer Weiner. I gave this 3 stars, but honestly, I think I liked it way more than 3 stars. I think about this book all the time and how it just totally caught me off guard. So I definitely recommend it. It's definitely more like your classic, like, basic women's read, but it really caught me off guard and I really enjoyed it. This next one is Kate May by Chip Cheek, and it was bad. Don't read it. The next one I read was The Night Swim by Megan Golden. I thought this book was really good. I gave it 4 stars. I think it's a very important read, but trigger warnings for rape and sexual assault big time. It's a very important story, but man, it's tough to get through at times. But it's very, very important that people read it. Next one is Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemor. I loved this book. Like, I don't know why I didn't give this 5 stars. I loved this book. I want to buy this book. I want to read it again. It was so fascinating and so good. The next one was The Lions of Fifth Avenue by Fiona Davis, and also 5 stars. I loved this book. I love historical fiction with like a little bit of mystery, and the fact that it was about the New York City Public Library, I was obsessed with it. Eventually I want to go back to school for library science, so I thought I was just really into this book. I thought it was so good. Ready Player 2 by Ernest Cline was my next book that I read. If you read Ready Player 1, don't even bother with this. It's terrible. Wade sucks in this book. He's a totally different character. Don't bother. Stick with Ready Player 1. Don't ruin the series for yourself. The next book is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I really wanted to like this book. I really did. I don't know if it's just because I'm not a fantasy reader, but I felt lost pretty much the entire time I was reading it. And I felt like the story didn't go where I wanted it to go. I felt like there was so much potential for a really cool story and really cool things that could happen with the concept. And it just didn't happen. Now, granted, I think this is supposed to be a series, so I guess we'll see what if it is a series and the next book comes out, I guess we'll see what happens, but I was really disappointed. I really wanted to like this, and I had thought the concept was so cool, and I just felt like it was 400 pages of nothing. It just didn't do what I wanted to do, and that sucks. The next one was A Walk to Remember. Me and my friends listened to this on the way back from, we were in North Carolina in like one of these little towns that is like very key to a Nicholas Sparks setting. And we were in one of those towns and we were listening to it on the way home. And it was amazing. 5 stars. I love this book. It's so good. The next one was This Is How You Lose the Time War. Again, I don't know if it's just because I don't read fantasy, but I was lost for 90% of this book. I didn't really know what was going on. I felt like the language was very flowery and very hard to understand, and I did not enjoy this one. The next one I read was The Hating Game, which is 5 stars. It's amazing. It's so fun. The movie was good too. I can't say enough about this book. It was so good. Next one was Normal People, also 5 stars. This book I feel like is very polarizing, and I knew that going into it, but as I was reading it, I was like, I don't really get it. Like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I don't love it, I don't hate it. And then after I finished it, I couldn't decide if I loved it or if I hated it. And that's why I gave it 5 stars, because if the author made me feel a certain way, then I don't know, they did their job. And so that's why I gave it 5 stars. I really liked it. The next book I read was The X Talk. I also have a reading vlog for this book because it was my Once Upon a Book Club order, and so it gave me little gifts to open as I read. It's a really fun video. I will link it in the cards. But yeah, it was an okay romance. Next one was Clap When You Land. This was really good. I really enjoyed the conversations around family and family scandal and issues and things like that. It was really good. The next one was The Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare. It was fine. I enjoyed it. I read all 3 in the series, and you'll see as I flip through, I like each of the following ones less and less than this one. I thought this one was really good, but the rest of them were just kind of meh. Next one was The Kiss Quotient. This was really good. I read this literally in in 5 days. I read this so fast. So good. The next one I read was One for the Money. This book has been sitting on my shelf literally since high school, and I was like, I just need to read it to see what it's about. There's 35 books in this series, and it was written in the 90s, and boy, you can tell that it was written in the 90s. But I don't know, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun mystery. I read the first 3 in the series. They're fine. They're quick, cozy mystery reads. It's low stakes. They're a good time. Then I read The Governess Game and then The Wallflower Wager. And again, you'll see they're just kind of meh. They're all right. The first one was definitely the best one. I liked in this one though that there was a little bit more at stake than just their relationship. There were little kids involved in this one, so I liked that. But yeah, this one was strange. This one I felt like I missed something during the 3rd act conflict, and so I don't really know what happened, but yeah. This was Two for the Dough by Janet Ivanovich. It's the 2nd book in that series. It's fine. It was fine. It was a good time. And then I read Verity by Colleen Hoover, and I gave it 4 stars, but oh my god, I read this book so fast. It definitely got me out of my reading slump that I was in over the summer. It was so good, and it was so strange, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't read my pages if you don't want spoilers, but it was a lot. It was a lot, but it was definitely entertaining, but it was wild. Bookish Life of Nina Hill was next, and I loved this book. I've never felt so seen by a main character. She works in a bookstore, she uses her planner, she goes to trivia, she reads all the time. I wish I could work in a bookstore. That's the dream. I use my planner. I go to trivia every week. I read all the time. I've never felt so seen by a character. All right, the next one was The Lion's Den, and oh my god, this book was wild. It was a wild ride. I loved it so much. So much. The next one I read was The Dating Plan, which I gave 4 stars, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember what happened. I guess I had a good time while reading it, but I don't really remember anything now. The next one is 3 to Get Deadly by Janet Ivanovich. This one I've liked the least out of the 3 that I've read. It was lame. The next one was That Summer by Jennifer Weiner. This was her new release for this year, or 2021, and it was really good. It was really good. And again, it had really important conversations that we're having about rape and sexual assault and domestic abuse, and not even domestic abuse, just more like you being married to someone and your relationship is changing and growing, and you're growing apart. Definitely more of that. The next one was Practical Magic, which honestly, I didn't really like the book. I liked the movie more, and that really goes against all of my beliefs, but I really liked the movie more. The next one I read was The Ex-Hex, which, again, it was a solid romance. It was fine. I thought the magic system and, like, the witches, like, the society of witches and their culture was really cool, but that's really it. And then I read Big Little Lies, and that was really good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. I felt like it was a little long. Didn't need to be that long, but I really liked it. Next, I read Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, and I definitely liked this less than Normal People. It was kind of boring, and with Normal People, I feel like I connected with the characters more than I connected with these two. So, yeah. The next, I read Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutanto, and this book was also crazy and wild. It had a lot going on. It was a little all over the place, and the reason that I gave it 4 stars was because the ending was kind of a mess. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't even really remember like what happened in the end. I just remember that they tried to do like 6 different things at the end, and I don't think any of them stuck. So that was disappointing. But the rest of the book was a really fun read. The Soulmate Equation, it was book number 33 of this year, and honestly, it's probably my favorite romance that I've read this year. It was so good. I loved everything about it. I wouldn't change a thing. As soon as it comes to paperback, I'm going to purchase it because, oh my God, it was everything. I loved it so much. And then the next one, number 34, is The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins. I didn't realize that this was a Jane Eyre retelling or adaptation or something like that. I didn't realize that at first, and then I looked up what Jane Eyre was about because I've never read Jane Eyre, and it's literally the same story, which I thought was interesting. So I kind of want to go back and read Jane Eyre now. We'll see. I doubt that'll happen, but I thought it was solid. 3 stars. That's not bad. That's just kind of like average, but yeah, I really enjoyed that one actually. Then I have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I think everybody needs to read this book. It is so important that people read it because I feel like the representation, actually I can't say that as someone who's has not been through those certain things that happen in this book. I can't speak on that, but I feel like you really feel what the character's feeling, and you feel the agony, and you feel her raw emotions, and I feel like that's not something that is involved in certain books like that. Granted, there is a trigger warning for this one too for domestic violence and domestic abuse because, oh boy, it is present in this book. And I really appreciated being able to read our, main characters' inner turmoil about what was going on. So, yeah, loved it. Then next we have In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, which was fine. It's my second Christina Lauren book that I've read. It was okay. It was a cute Christmas read. It was just what I needed. And then the last book of the year is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey, and I really liked it. It was short and sweet and steamy and like just what I wanted to finish the year on. I finished it on Christmas, and then I kind of just took the week off reading because I was on vacation, but yeah, I really liked it. And so that's all my books, and that's the rest of my book journal. There's nothing after this. So yeah, that is my flip through my finished 2021 book journal. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please hit like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And I hope wherever you are, I hope you're doing okay and that you're having a good day and that you're staying warm and safe. Or if it's hot where you live, I hope you're staying cool. And Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in my next one. Bye.